Karibu sana to the Family Matters Hour. As you take note, things have changed. We are moving on into a new season, and beginning today, we'll be having the devotional hour from 6 to 7, and then from 7 to 8, we will be having the Family Matters Hour, where we discuss issues that relate to the family, whether it is a financial clinic or the relationship clinic or parenting Tuesday or motivation Monday. And do I have a story for you today? You know, many of us have a friend or a brother or a family member who, just gets lost, whether it's in drugs or alcohol and things like that. And sometimes you wonder, will they ever get out? Is it ever possible for them to reform and to come to a place even where they start serving God? Well, I've got a gentleman who will be joining us shortly to share his story, and I know his story will be an inspiration to you. But before we get to him, let's take a look at the local dailies. What's making headlines on this beautiful Monday morning? Daily Nation, big story today. Uhuru's tough test in 2022 poll plan. Says Deputy President William Ruto has been edged out and is now a lone ranger in this contest. And there are pictures here of ODM leader Raila Odinga, ANC Chief Musalia Mudavadi, Wiper Chief Kalonzo Musyoka, and KANU Chairman Gideon Moi. Uhuru Kenyatta has a big decision to make, one that will either unite his camp and lead to a smooth handover or spark a fallout and new political realignments. ODM Chief Raila Odinga, Amani's Musalia Mudavadi, Wiper's Kalonzo Musyoka, and KANU's Gideon Moi are all in the running to get his nod, but divisions are now emerging in president's inner circle. That's the big story right there. Also, on the front page of the Daily Nation, apparently Kenyans are excited. Why? Because Suluhu will be making her first trip to Kenya. Tanzania President Samia Suluhu's first visit to Kenya tomorrow is exciting. Enthusiasts of regional integration who hope she could help mend relations between the two countries. Well, let's wait and see how that will turn out. There's a story here about the cost of living, and man, things are tough and things are tight. Let me get to it. It should be right here. It's talking about how things have become tough. We can't breathe. Kenyans choke under cost of living. Rise in prices pushed inflation from 5.78% in February to 5.9% in March. It says many have had to adjust their lifestyle after the cost of basic items rose beyond their reach. And I'm just wondering, have you had to make adjustments because the cost of living has become too high? What are some of the adjustments you have had to make? Inaitwa kufunga mshipi. Umefunga mshipi in what area of your life? Maybe budget ya nyumba umepunguza kidogo, or maybe, I see a number of people who, distances they used to take a matatu or even take an Uber, now they've decided to walk. I've seen friends of mine who decided to buy bicycles, and now they just cycle to work. Human power, no using fare. What adjustments have you had to make in your life because of the cost of living going on an all-time high? Share that with me on 20316 for SMS and WhatsApp 0786 316 316. Other stories making headlines in the local dailies. There's quite a bit of politics as well, but there's something on the World Press Freedom Day. COVID shrinking freedoms overshadow Journalists' Day. You can take a look at that. Moving on to the pullouts. Two pullouts today. The first one is higher education and Science and Technology Park, a first of its kind. This is all about a 5 billion facility at Dedan Kimathi University of Technology, which will offer specialized training for scientists and engineers. I think that's a step in the right direction. You need to take a look at this article and find out more about that. And then the other pullout is junior sport. It is KCPE star who aspires to end FGM. You can read her amazing story in the junior sport pullout. In the back pages, disquiet in crisis torn not ahead of national elections. The delegates have met for 2 years, a situation that is blamed on lack of funds. Have not met actually for 2 years because of lack of funds. You can take a look at that. And then in the back pages, road to Olympics, there's still hope for local runners. And then on matters soccer, international soccer, Classy Inter and 11-year wait for Serie A crown. More about that as you take a look at the local dailies. And then there's also something on volleyball. Prisons Pipeline now focus on league title. Those are some of the key stories you will find in the local dailies today. Grab yourself a copy. Keep yourself informed on what's happening both locally and also internationally. As I told you, I've got an amazing story for you in this hour. You know, from getting high to sharing the gospel. I know you will be blessed by that. That's coming your way shortly. You are right on time, my friend. It is Family Matters Hour. Today is what we call Motivation Monday, and I have an amazing story for you. I have George Omore, who's my guest today. George, can you get me?
Hey, I'm okay. Sorry about that.
Great. Now I can get you loud and clear. Karibu sana. It's good to have you on the show today.
Asante, I'm humbled. Thank you for having me too.
So yours is a very interesting story. Take us back. Where did you grow up? How was life when you were growing up as a child?
Wow. Meanwhile, I grew up in Nairobi, Eastlands, basically. Way back, 72.
Yes.
I grew up in Eastlands. And as we say, there's a cultural script which says, community script, that you are where you are born, you'll be where you grew up. Like, for example, if you grew up in Eastlands, at some point of time, you'll get utakwamanga, you'll be a bad boy or something, or get involved in drugs. So I grew up in Eastlands. Like the better part of my life, I grew up in Eastlands, and at some point I lived that script.
Okay.
I just came from a humble beginning in a musical family. My dad was a musician, so
nice.
We had a lot of freedom in the house to do stuff. So I was exposed to so many things at a very early age in life.
Okay.
But I grew up in a normal family, but I had a lot of freedom doing stuff. I found alcohol at a very tender age in my house. I got exposed to adult stuff when I was young.
Okay. So at what point? I'm just wondering, at what age did you first begin taking alcohol?
I wouldn't say like from when I was in class 8. That's when I started. That's way back in 85. But I would come at home when I was in class 1. And I found my dad they were doing practice of the music stuff. And while they were doing practice, they were taking some whiskey. So I would ask, Ini, what's this? And they will give me a sip to taste. So they twitch when I twitch. They love when I twitch. So they will always, then I twitch, they laugh. So at that point, I started just getting involved in it. But from when I was in class 8, that's way back in 85. That's when I started now drinking.
Okay. Would you say that kuonja, created a desire in you to go in that direction?
Yeah, definitely. Kuonja ndio ufungulia mtu. Definitely.
Yeah.
The more you kuonja, that kidogo, it's the opening. It comes slowly by slowly. By the time you realize you're now an addict, it was kuonja.
Yeah.
Yeah, the kuonja is drinking. There's nothing like kuonja. The more you take it kidogo, soul and courage, don't test, don't try, don't do it. Because when you start kuonja, eventually you'll get hooked up to it and you won't know.
Okay. So when you say by class 8 is when you can say you really started taking alcohol, there's that taking alcohol because it's available, like that one of kuonja, because it's in the house, because other people are taking it and you have access to it, you take it. But there's the other place where now you go out to look for it. You even take your own money to purchase it. So by the time you're in class 8, on which side of this fence are you on? Are you now going out to seek it for yourself, or are you colliding with it in the environments that you find yourself in?
Now, so the environment also has an impact. So in class 8, when I have some pocket money, the easiest was changa. Changa was 10 shillings per glass.
What?
So that was a quick fix.
By class 8, unakunywa cham?
Class 8, I was...
Wow.
Chams ilikuwa ghetto. So because we were underage, class 8 I was underage.
Yeah.
So we couldn't go to the bar. Definitely. So we were under 18. We were not allowed in the bars.
Mm-hmm.
So what we do, you just charm was a quick fix. At 10 bob per glass,
Mm-hmm.
you get it, you get high. You know, it's a quick fix. It was available in the ghettos.
Okay. Did
So
you
we had friends who would hook us up in the ghetto. Yeah.
so did your family know that you are taking alcohol by that time?
Yeah, they knew.
Mm-hmm.
Funny enough, my dad wasn't all that against alcohol as such.
Okay.
He wasn't all that against to it. So I was beginning. It wasn't that the effects of alcoholism wasn't seen at that point of time.
Mm-hmm.
So ungesema ati pombe ni mbaya, imeniharibu, nimefanya hivi. It was just the beginning of stuff.
Okay.
So I was still in school. I wasn't out of school. I was in school but drinking. So nobody would say ati pombe imetuma, you are out of school, you are a dropout or something.
Yeah.
So I was going to school, but my extra time I will take.
I'm wondering, was it affecting your education in any way? Being that now you're in class 8, you're a candidate, did it affect your performance in school?
Definitely, it affected my performance seriously. Like, no, don't even go there.
Uh-huh.
Hey, it affected my education. I couldn't concentrate. Definitely, when you're drunk, you can't concentrate. Now, I wasn't a habitual drunkard at that point of time, but definitely it affected my education, because when you we used to get drunk so that we can break dance, we can go have some silly parties, childish kiddies parties. So it was I couldn't concentrate on schoolwork.
Okay. So
and I failed my study aid terribly. I
oh
failed,
my goodness.
But one thing I say, failure is an event. Failure is not a person.
Very true.
So
I like that.
Today I'm different.
I
failed
that.
my exams. In fact, in going to Form 1, I wasn't admitted until the third term. Nobody will accept my marks. But yeah, I joined Form 1 third term because there's no school. You are the first class 8 and people were excited. So your marks really mattered. So first time I missed. Second time I missed. I joined another school. I don't want to say the name. Just like a crazy school. They accepted me on third term.
How was life?
It was bad.
How was life in secondary school? Did the drinking increase, or was it stable, or did it go down?
Now it increased because when you start drinking alcohol or something, it will give an opening to other stuff.
Very true.
So I started drinking alcohol, smoking cigarettes at some point, bangi, what. So it gives opening to other stuff. And the schools that I went, for 4 years, I went to like 3 schools. The first school I went, I was chased. I went to the next school, I was chased. I went to the third school where I did my O-levels. Also, it wasn't, so the schools also, they were not all that good schools.
Were they boarding schools or day schools?
It increased, definitely. I didn't
boarding or day?
Yeah, boarding.
Boarding.
Boarding, I was doing boarding.
So were you being chased because of the drug and alcohol abuse, or was it other issues?
Yeah, see, Umangaya, Nairobi, when you go to school, oh, guys were Nairobi, there's that ego.
Yeah.
Guys of Nairobi, you want to show who you are. Umangando sells you. When you're a rude boy, it sells you the popular kids in school. Yeah, the popular kids in school, and that it was so sad that they were the poor performance in class.
Oh my goodness.
Well, poor performance in class, and so at some point it went just on, and so the drinking alcohol, changa, it opened ways to other stuff. Because at some point I couldn't get changa, Skype school to get changa. So what was available is what I used.
Okay.
What was available was like bangi. Yeah, I started smoking bang. I started doing stuff. Anything that will get you high, you take it. Anything that will get you high.
So how did you perform in your Form 4?
Well, excuse me. I got an E for excellence.
Excuse me.
I got an E for excellence. But let me say this. Allow me to say this again.
Yeah.
That failure is not a person.
Yes.
Failure is an event. Failure is an occurrence. God is too smart not to create a failure.
I like that.
So I chose not to live like to define my life with the E. So I refused to define myself with the E. I learned from my mistake and move on, because God had a plan and a destiny for my life. So
Wow.
the E never defined who I am today.
Yes.
The E was just an occurrence. It was a happening. It was an event. It was not an inborn trait with me. It's not my character. God had a purpose in me.
I like that.
But I failed
like
miserably.
that.
I got an E for excellence. I don't want anybody to get that.
E for excellent. Okay, we'll talk about at what point did you recognize that this is a serious problem and I need help? And did you seek for help? And how did that turn out? We'll talk about that shortly. It's about 27 minutes before we get to 8 o'clock. My name is James Okumu. Thank you for joining us on this family hour. An amazing guest sharing his story with us. If you have a question or maybe a similar experience you want to share with us, be part of the show by texting in on 20316, WhatsApp 0786 316 316. And we are hanging out with George Omori. George is sharing his testimony with us. And SMSs are coming in. I've got Phyllis Ndongo from Saudi Arabia. Phyllis anasema fail means first attempt in learning. Yes, that is how we should look at it. Asante sana. And then Paris from Kabete says that story is shocking. It sheds lights on the things going on in our society, but they go unnoticed. Tunafunguka macho. Thank you so much, Paris from Kabete. So back to you, George. So George, at what point did you realize that this is a problem? I need help. Because I'm assuming now in high school, the whole issue has escalated. Here you are, you failed your exams again. When did you realize niko na shida?
Yeah. I realized later in school, after school, drugs and crimes are conjoined twins. You can't separate them.
Yeah.
So at some point, I got involved in crime. And that was the big issue. So it went slowly by slowly, and I got involved in crime.
What kind of crime?
Crime became a dangerous situation. Yeah.
What kind of crime?
We will steal anything just to sustain my drag line. Nobody will give you pesa when ukanunue.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I had to sustain my drag line. I had to steal anything, kutoka vijiko kwa nyumba, sahani.
What?
I will steal anything.
Even from home?
Let me tell you, from home. It was so sad. It was so sad that I couldn't. My mom, when nyumba ingefungwa,
yes,
they give the keys to the guy in the kiosk probably. So when I come home and see the house is locked, I will break the window.
What?
The louvers.
Kwenyu?
Yeah. Where to?
Oh my goodness.
Because there was nothing that I could steal, I will, out of getting desperate, I will take the curtains. Now I took the curtains day by day. Mama naika curtains mpya. It was so painful. So I would steal anything. To same as drag line, I would steal anything. Would mark people. Would break in house. I would do anything to sustain my drag line. Yeah. So crime definitely. In Eastland, it wasn't at that point of time. It wasn't good. It was a dangerous situation. You were being beaten. You need to go a mob. Yeah, we have to go mob, or your friend dies.
Yeah.
Something. Yeah, you're being caught. Unapelekwa kwa jail. Unapigiwa huko. Unakufia huko kwa sababu ya injuries. So
what?
It came dangerous. It was a dangerous situation, and I really wanted to reform. I really wanted to try to change. With my human effort, I tried to change, but it was pretty hard.
So what was the tipping
I needed
point?
Transformation.
Sometimes in a situation like this, somebody goes through maybe a life-threatening experience, something dramatic happens in your life, and it brings you back to reality, and you realize, if I don't change, I'm going to die. I'm wondering, did you have that kind of a moment? And if you did, what was it?
Yeah. What triggered my thought of changing? What triggered? The time I was beaten mob justice, where I almost died.
What?
To go mob.
You've been mob justice.
What helped me? Mob justice in a soko place called Soko Mjinga.
Coach. Oh my goodness.
We went to steal in the soko. Soko Mjinga coach. Wow. Nilishikwa nikapigwa. In fact, where I was being beaten, we were like 14 guys. Like 3 of us were caught. So 3 of us were caught. No, nilikimbia nikapigiwa. There was no tire. They wanted to burn me up, but kulikuwa kunozo mandizi. So there's a corner where they sell bananas.
Yeah.
So they covered me with the banana leaves, dried banana leaves.
Yeah.
Dried banana leaves. They covered me with so being a seasoned thief, you die before you die. Because when you move, they hit you.
Yes.
So I pretended that I'm dead. So they covered me. They were looking for tires to burn me. At that point of time, I knew I was dying.
Mhm.
That was the change of my thoughts. I knew I was dying. I was really, because walinimwagia mpaka mafuta taa.
Boss,
Nikasikia harufu ya mafuta taa niko kule chini.
did you make a prayer? Did you make a prayer?
So ile kumwaga mafuta taa, thank God. I made a prayer. Nikamwambia Mungu mazee, because I was expecting now wacha kifo ikuje. This is how we die. Okay, this is how death comes. So I really knew today it's my day. And regrets came. Definite regrets came. But thank God, Jehovah Lord. Wow. Alipoteza kibiriti.
Ooh-wee.
So kwa mzima walikosa kibiriti. Wanatafuta kibiriti hakuna na kitu washanimwagia mafuta taa, kila kitu. So in that situation nikaamka. Nikapata nguvu from nowhere. I just got strength. I woke up from those banana leaves and twigs and I started running and I don't know where I was running to, but I was just running. As Kampa Health, I was running and I got to Dende. Dende ilikuwa Nairobi River.
Yes.
So Nairobi River ilikuwa raw sewage. You know Nairobi River?
Yeah.
Ikifika Korokocho huko it's raw sewer.
Yes.
Kwa Boretam it's still clean. Lakini ikifika huko Korokocho waga ni raw sewer. So
Yeah.
I just dumped myself in the river and I crossed the other side. Yeah, so napigiwa kule chini, but at some point I just got away. So out of anger, because nobody could cross the river to find me the other side. Nairobi River ndio iliniokoa. Nobody will get, hakuna mtu angeingia kwa maji ya mavi anifuate pande ile nyingine.
So when you got
when I reached the other side of the road,
I'm just wondering, when you got home that day,
when I got the other side of the river,
what was going through your mind?
Yeah?
When you got home that day, what was going through your mind?
Can't get you clearly.
I'm asking, when you got home that day, what was going through your mind?
Hey. Yeah, I'm getting you. Now, from that time, I wanted, it was a near-to-death experience.
Mm-hmm.
It's a near-to-death experience. And one thing I asked, God, why have you kept me alive? Because 2 of my friends were burned.
Wow.
2 of my friends, when I was looking back where I came from, I would see black smoke. It was 2 midday. So around 2, a black smoke you can see it from afar.
Yeah.
So in the middle of the market, when I look back, I could see the smoke. So I was wondering, I was asking God, why have you kept me alive? That was what was going through my mind. Why have you kept me alive? Why have you kept me alive up to now? And God gave me a clear answer. He told me, I kept you alive so that you may serve me.
Wow.
Clear cut.
So did you have to go
kept you alive so that you may serve me.
Did you have to go through any kind of rehab?
Yeah?
Did you have to go through any kind of rehab?
No. There were no rehabs those days. No, I didn't go for any rehab. There were no rehabs those days. You were taken for unakwapele kwa madhare. Unajaribu kuambia watu mimi si mgonjwa, mimi si wazimu. The more you say unajitetea ndo wanajua wewe ni wazimu, unadungwa shindano. Hakukuwa na rehabs. Ulikuwa unaenda hospitali, wanakuambia unapelekwa hospitali for withdrawal. So when you're taken to the hospital for withdrawal, they think you're mad. So unajaribu kujitetea, I'm okay. I'm just a drug addict. I'm okay. Wow, unasema wewe ni wazimu, unadungwa shindano.
Wow.
Unakuwa ka cheesy. So there were no rehabs. I wasn't taken for rehabs. There was no counseling. So those days, what they thought was police station. When you're taken to the police station, utanyoroka. So sadly, when you're taken to the police station, probably you go to the remand and you come out hardened. Unajiita kiapo.
Yes.
So it was like a level. Unajiita kiapo. So there were no rehabs. Nobody could come, sit and counsel us. It was really tricky for us.
So how did you start serving God?
Now, that's the change. So after that situation, God told me that I've kept your life so that you may serve me. So I gave my life to Christ. I really wanted change. I wanted to reform, but to reform with my human efforts wasn't possible. I needed a transformation, a total change, a total turnabout. So 93, I gave my life to Christ.
Wow.
June 23rd, 93, on a Wednesday at 3 o'clock. For the first time in life, I told God I'm sorry. And I gave my life to Christ. From there, I began serving God. I did every odd job in church. I just gave myself to God. And the bishop, who was my pastor at that time, told me one thing. Be busy for God, and God will be busy for you. Because I was a thug, now I've come to Christ. I don't have papers. I don't have anything to do. So I gave my life to Christ. I did everything.
Wow.
I did everything.
How did that change your life?
And there's, wow, it was awesome. Yeah.
I'm wondering how.
So there's a guy.
Yeah.
Who's called Fred Njiri. I know you know him.
Yes.
Fred
Njiri is my colleague here. Yes.
Fred Njiri was the guy who led me to Christ.
Wow.
Yeah, he was the guy who led me to Christ. June, I gave my life in the middle of their sitting room. He led me to Christ. And up to date, I haven't failed him. I've still maintained my testimony.
Awesome. So what are you doing?
That was way back. It's like 27 years back.
What are you doing currently? What are you doing currently?
Okay, now I'm a full-time pastor. I'm ordained and licensed with Kenya Assemblies of God. We have a pastor with Kenya Assemblies. We have a church in Roy, an awesome church in Roy. So from 2010, I became a senior pastor. From 2010 up to now, I'm still a senior pastor, and God is really doing great.
Wow. Have you ever tried to reach out to some of the people
That's what I'm doing. I'm serving God.
I'm just wondering, have you ever tried to reach out to some of the people you used to hang out with?
Yeah, definitely. I reach out to them because I know them better. I talk their language. I preach to them, not with the religious speech that we have in church. No.
Yeah.
I talk to them. I speak to them. I talk to them na kakini na obiria. Waushanga, hey, there is that. I don't judge them. I see them. I talk with them. Naongea lugha yao. I identify with them. So it is easier for me to get them. When I talk their language, I sit with them, tunaongea sheng, tunabonga na obiria na sheng with you. Na kachini, I go to their dens, siogopi, ni ordinary. Naenda tu, I put on, natoa kola, naenda huko na kanao. I go stuff, and I go to rehab place. Kenya Assemblies of God, we have a rehab place.
Yeah.
I go there and we talk. We keep it real. I always tell them we're keeping it real. Yeah.
Wow, that's wonderful. What would you tell somebody who's listening in today and they have a family member who's a drug addict or an alcoholic, and they're almost giving up on them? How can you encourage them?
Well, I can encourage them by telling them as far as they're alive, they have the heartbeat, they have the breath of life, they are alive. Basically, they are alive. There's 1,000,001 chances of changing. 1,000,001 chances of changing. It is possible. It is possible. As far as you're alive, you're not dead. When you're dead, that's dead. Imeisha.
Yeah.
But you're alive, change is possible. Change is possible. And to parents who are probably watching and having kids who are in drugs, alcoholism, in crime, just love them. Love them. Don't define their lives with their current situation. So people define me with my current past. When even I share my pictures, my past, my post and pre,
yes,
people will not believe me. So I wouldn't say that they shouldn't judge their lives with their current situation. They shouldn't judge who they are and define their life and put a full stop to their life. Hata ukifail shule doesn't mean you're a failure.
Very true.
Jehovah ndiye.
That's my friend.
So
that is very true.
Never give up as far as your life.
As we wrap up this conversation, when you look at your life and the progression of your life, vile ulianza life, hizo vitu zote umepitia, when you look back, what are some of the greatest lessons you can tell somebody you have learned through this whole experience?
What I've learned above everything, now that I'm a family member, I have a family, I have kids. I've been married for the past 17 years now.
Wow.
So how I grew up is I wouldn't. I have two teenagers. So I wouldn't raise my kids the way I was raised up. So there are some lessons I learned. Exposure. I won't expose my kids to some stuff that I was exposed to at a very early age.
Yeah.
Those are the things that I've learned, how I grew up. It's not where you are born. It's not the school that you went in. It's not where you grew up. There are good things in Eastlands. They say there's nothing good can come out of Eastlands. So it's not Eastlands.
Yes.
It's the exposure, how you expose yourself to stuff. Yeah.
Wow.
So
I like
I've
that.
learned never expose yourself to stuff. Avoid avenues that can compromise you. There's no way unaenda kwa bar useme mimi nakunywa coke na wana kunywa. Definitely utakunywa. There's no way you go to a place where don't avoid the avenues. So those are the things I've learned. I nilienda kwa places zilinishikanisha.
Wow.
Niko mdogo.
There's a message here saying that this is Terry from Kahawa West. Terry is saying, I love the conversation and the testimony. Here, kibiriti kupotea, that was an angel of the Lord who snatched it away to save your life.
Wow.
I like that. As we finish, I'm just wondering, how did your family respond when you changed and you got born again? Ukakuwa sasa mtu wa kanisa. Badala ya kuenda kunywa chwara huko unaenda church. How did your family respond?
Definitely they were excited. Being the firstborn, I was the spoiled one. So up to date, I was saying, kama tulieza umorewe nani. So I've read some stuff. They were excited, definitely. They were excited. So the people who are following me now, they can't reach where I reached. So hey, kama morali change now, let us keep low. So the family, definitely, they were excited. I was spoiled. I was environmental hazard in the house. I was just torn out. So they were excited. The family was there. My mom was praying for me. My mom was so excited. She was so up to date. She is so excited. We still serve God with her. So my family members, definitely they were excited. I was lost, now I'm found. Wow. Like the prodigal son.
Yes.
So they were excited. They were so happy about it.
You said you have teenagers, yeah? You said your children are teenagers.
Yeah.
How old?
Yeah, to two girls, say 16 and going to 12 now. 16 and 12.
Wow. So do you tell them your story? Do you share with them what you went through and how you grew up and the challenges you had to overcome?
Definitely. Yeah. Wow. I tell them they've heard it as 1,000,001 times. They've heard it definitely. Whenever I go to preach, whenever I go to share out, I go with them. I show them my pictures, post, and they know the whole story. They're the first people I tell them. Wajue huku, si mchezo. So I keep it real. I tell them. They know it. Na wanajua. And they're proud of it kwa sababu wanaona change. So they say, kama dada alikuwa hivi, hey, hata si tusijaribu. So I tell them. But I don't force them not to do this. But I tell them the choice is theirs.
Very true. Wow.
I tell them, I keep it real. They know. They have seen my pictures. We go stuff. I tell them, hapa ni hapa ni hapa, chunga hapa tulifanya hivi na hivi. When I go to the in streets huko tao, I tell them, hapa, don't avoid this street, this. So,
that's nice. My friend George, we are out of time for today. Thank you so much for availing yourself. Kabla sija kuachilia, hebu tuma salamu.
Thanks.
Tuma salamu.
Awesome.
Lazima utume salamu.
Natuma salamu kwanza. I love that. Natuma salamu kwa kanisa yetu, home church members, KG home church members. Big love. Na watambua sana home church members. I love you so much. Hao ndio watu wangu natambua sana. My flock, my members. Hao ndio natambua kwanza. And definitely my family, they are with me here, wananisikia.
Asante. George, thank you man. Asante sana. Umetushika leo asubuhi, but we are grateful.
Ngoja.
Kuna moja umesahau?
Nashukuru. And to my mom, she's way back home in Eldoret.
Yes.
My mom, I love you so much. Yeye aliniombea, akanihudumia, nikaokoka. Na mdosi wenyu hapo Njiri, mwambie nimemgotea sana.
Nitamshow. Asante sana. I'm out of time for today. Thank you so much, George. Indeed, there is hope. And God is able to save and God is able to deliver. That's all the time we have for this morning. Jam 316 will continue on radio for another hour.
For this and more of our shows, log on to www.familymediaonline.com to enjoy a wide variety of programs from current affairs to testimonials and features, pastoral and inspirational shows, kids entertainment, and so much more. Also stream live on www.familymedia.tv.